Right, so today we're going to be looking at Diamonds. So this is going to be Lil Peep's last ever album, and it's an album he made with Ilovemakonnen back in 2017, and it's finally getting released. So the fact that this is his last ever album, it just, I don't know. I don't know about some of you guys, but when I saw the announcement it was coming out, it actually kind of made me feel a bit sad. It's just knowing this is the last time I'm going to hear a proper, complete album from my favourite artist. Like, for me, he's a once-in-a-lifetime artist. I'll never find another artist I enjoy as much as him. So they did actually drop a single from the album already, and it's called November. I listened to it day of release, and a few days later listened to it again. My opinion is still the same, and I just thought it was pretty meh. Look, the song had a really good fun vibe to it when Pete was singing, but McConnell's part just really didn't click with me. I don't know how to describe it. When he's trying to do like high notes and stuff, I'm just not really a fan of his voice, and he does a lot of high notes in this song. It's not that bad, but on this song I just really wasn't feeling it, and I just hope that the rest of the album, McConnell is better than what he was in this song. So yeah, I'm going to go listen to the album and I'll see you after. Right, so I've listened to the full album and, well, it was decent. There was a few big misses for me, but enough redeemable tracks for me to say that it wasn't exactly bad. Firstly, what I liked was like the vision for this album. You can tell they're really trying to make this something very different from anything Pete had made in the past. The whole project is just very different from anything we've heard from Pete before. And for some songs, that's in a good way, and some not so much. For example, the opener, Smoking, was a very different vibe to any Peep song in my opinion, and it worked really well. McConnell really complimented Peep in this song, and both their verses had a nice fun vibe to it. There's also a lot of the two of them going off each other's words, and this worked really well in some songs. Nasty Names is a good example. And at the end of the song, as McConnell is singing, Pete's repetition of the words actually blends really nicely in my opinion, but on songs like I've Been Waiting, I just don't think it worked. But of course, there were some songs where Pete stole a show, in my opinion. The best example of this is Hocus Pocus. This is actually my favourite song from the album. I do actually like McConnell's part in this song. In my opinion, it's his best part on the album, but Pete just completely outdoes him here. It's not even any competition. And overall, the production on the album is just amazing. The beats to me were really fresh as a Pete fan. Most of them were quite unique to anything that Pete had worked on before, which is a big plus. A good example of this is Twisted, with that cool siren in the background, and the only other song I can think of similar to that is Coke Nails. But now onto the problems that I had. Now the main issue I had was with McConnell. His style just isn't for me. The long drawn out words I think can sound nice at some points, but the majority of them it just makes it hard for me to listen to. The high notes are just pretty poorly done, and the auto-tune in his voice just makes it worse. It's like, when you put chalk on a fucking whiteboard, it's a bit like that feeling. And the times where I actually found myself enjoying McConnell was when he was really like more laid back on the track. And the only issues I had with any of Pete's parts was really just in quite a few songs it was repetitive, or he just had really nothing to do with the song. It was just one verse repeated, especially on Cruise of You. It was really annoying. And for some songs, like Crybaby 2 for example, the fact that he didn't do much in the song just kind of ruined it for me. Like, I feel like it could have been a good song if he'd just done more in the song. A lot of the album just had this really fun vibe to it, which I really liked, and it was a nice change from what I'm used to. Although I really do feel like the album could have done with removing a few tracks and reworking some. The main issues with the songs I disliked was McConnell's parts, if I'm honest. Just all really the high notes and the pitch changes that just don't sound too good to me. And I just think a lot of them should have been redone, because I know McConnell can do it well. And a lot of times in the songs, I just don't feel like his and Pete's energy really match up well together. But sometimes it just felt like he was trying a bit too hard to sound good. And there was a lot of repetition in all these songs from both of them, which isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes it can just feel quite lazy. But take all that with a grain of salt, as you can tell on this album, they're trying out a lot of different things. I do want to point out that the album is 21 songs long, and in the recent Diamonds documentary, McConnell said that Peep only intended for 10 or so songs to be on the album, so I'm actually curious to see what that track list would have been, because I feel like it probably would have been a bit better. And they also removed an artist from one of the tracks. They removed him off of Twisted, which is a bit of a questionable choice, since his mum does like to push that she only wants Pete's music released as he intended. Overall, I say the album was like around a 6.5. It's definitely not up there with like Lil Peep Part 1 or Hellboy, but it's decent. Now, I gave it a 6.5, but this doesn't reflect how I actually scored each song individually, as the average flat was 5.5, which is very low, I know, but I rate the complete project higher, as I still had a good time listening to it, and you can feel that it was something they had fun making, and they were trying out new things. Now, I'll go through my thoughts in each song, and some songs I'll group together to make it easier. Starting from the bottom, we have Cruise of You with 1 out of 10, and this song just perfectly sums up what I don't like about McConnell in the album. There's just way too many high notes that just don't work, and a lot of boring repetition from Peep. I gave Hypnotised and I Sell Cocaine both a 2 out of 10. These two songs just both give me the vibe of two geezers who just got some presets and were messing around, and the lyrics match that too. Then I gave Your Favourite Drug Sale 4 out of 10, Really Loving You 3 out of 10, Kiss Me 5.5 out of 10. They all just pretty boring in my opinion. Kiss Me gave me like a nice OG Peep vibe, but it didn't really do enough to bring the song back. And the final minute on My Favourite Drug Sale, It was really, really rough to get through. I gave Cry Baby 2 a 4 out of 10. Makonnen held the song back, if I'm being honest. Pete's part was quite solid and it felt quite dreamlike, and I enjoyed that part, but Makonnen literally sounds like he has a guy gripping his balls in some songs, so he can get to the high notes, and this song perfectly highlights it. It doesn't sound good when he's randomly switching from the high notes to deep voice. I've Been Waiting OG, I gave this a 5 out of 10. I didn't like how at some parts they were almost at competition with each other, and maybe I would rate this higher, but it's just the fact that I've heard the Fall Out Boy version and that's a lot better. Sidelines, 5.5 out of 10. This song is a perfect example of Makonnen and Peeps' energy just not matching. I actually didn't mind each their parts individually, but just the difference between the two of them was just too jarring for me to enjoy it. I gave Nice Names and Rent to Pay 6 out of 10. Both songs which could easily be higher up. All they need to do is cut the first half out of Nice Names and the second half out of Rent to Pay, and they'll both instantly be better songs. Prove My Love, 6 out of 10. Now, this song should be lower, but I don't know. It's so bad that I kind of like it. I don't know, it feels kind of fun to sing along to. I gave Guiltiness in November a 6 and a 5 out of 10. These songs are pretty decent, but this is like the good example of where Makonnen's voice can work, when it's a match of the 80s kind of vibe on the beats. I just think he's able to do that style very well. I gave Ballin' a 7 out of 10. This one just gives me a nostalgic feel to it, and it was just a nice listen. That's what I have to say about this one. I Don't Give a Fuck 2, 7.5 out of 10. This one's grown on me each time I've listened to it. For some reason, the first time I listened to it, I didn't really like it too much. But when I was rating them more, I gave it a 6. And now I've listened to it a few more times, I'd give it a 7.5. I enjoyed both their parts in this song. They gave me like a Kill Station sort of vibe with the mix on their voices. Alright, so now we're on to the good songs of the album, which there's only 4 of. We got That Juice, very solid track this one. It has such a feel-good energy to it, and Pete's vocals are done really well on this song. Makonnen's part was really good too. I think it's heavily due to the fact that he kept it simple in this song. It was more laid back for this one, and that's why I think it worked. They both kept it simple and worked with each other well. The chimes in the background throughout was also a great addition. I then gave Twisted an 8 out of 10. Again, in this song, Makonnen kept it more simple, flowing with the beat smoothly, and Pete's part is amazing. I love the ad-libs he's up in the background. Smoking, I gave a 9 out of 10. This song was probably the best choice for the opener, and I'm really glad they did choose it. They both do really well in this song. The only thing holding this back from actually being the best song in the album is that the middle part of the song, the pace kind of got messed up. I feel that Makonnen's part should have been a little bit shorter. Anyway, now we're on to my favourite song in the album, that's Hocus Pocus, and like this song legitimately blew me away quite a bit. I actually turned this one up on Makonnen's part, which is something I thought I'd never say. He did really well in this song, and he went kind of hard in this song, and which that sounds kind of cringe. And he kind of went in a bit, which I wish we saw more of on this album. And when Pete came in with the hook, it was just, it's like that picture where like they're raising up on the bed with the earphones in. It's like that. Anyway, that's all the time I'm going to take out of yours today. If you watched the whole video, I generally really appreciate you. And yeah, have a good one.